Hey guys, Kev here, and today is Easter actually, so happy Easter to all of you. This will post later, but we just got done dinner and my parents left and had a little minute here, so I wanted to film some rapid reviews because I have a bunch of knives in that I want to get back to either the dealers that sent them in or get them in the pass around. So I think we're going to do 3 different videos, and they'll each have 4 or 5 rapid reviews. That's my plan. So there's going to be links down below to all of these items, whether it's an affiliate link or just a link to the website. Either way, there's going to be a link down there. If you use the affiliate links, it does help the channel, but that way you guys all have access to the links. You don't have to go, what was that knife? Where do I get it? Boom, description. And I always pin the description at the top of the comments. So if you watch the video an hour or 2 after it posts, usually that'll be there. And all you gotta do is go to comments. The top one is gonna be mine. It's gonna have the description right there with the links. So I try to make it easy for you guys. But anyway, let's get into this. The first one here is gonna be the Beans Blades Mini Warrior. So I did a video unboxing this. This came from Blade Runner HQ. Big shout out to Blade Runner HQ. They sent me a bunch of sweet swag as well that will be given away over the next couple weeks. And they let me check out some knives and a flashlight. But this is one of them. This is the Mini Warrior from Beans Blades. This is OEM'd by Riot. So Riot out of China OEM this. You have PVD coated titanium clip, frame, and blade. And then you have a cross-cut jungle wear fat carbon inlay. Now these, I looked on the website, these start, I believe, at $375. Now it's going to be a little bit more expensive for one with an inlay. And this is for my beefy boys out there. Ooh, that sounded weird. That's not what she said. Well, it is what she said, but it's not what he said, aka me. It's not what me said. My beefy boys, oh God. If I edited, that would be gone. Anyway, this is for the guys who like beefy knives. If you like Medford or Hinderer or something like that, I think you're going to like this knife. Now, there's another knife that you're going to see in another one of these rapid review videos that also falls in this category. But I love this 6-gun pivot, and you have this crazy Tanto, American Tanto style blade. It is sharp, and it is M390, but it is a thick piece of M390. And then you have a rather shallow grind, flat grind, and a short grind. So it's going to be pretty thick, but, you know, it cuts paper and stuff like that just fine. It's just that if you're going to be trying to do like cardboard cutting, it's going to be more of a wedge, obviously. But for those heavy-duty tasks, for that kind of tough stuff, I think this would make sense. Now, how many people are doing that with their $400 knife? I don't know. Ask Rick Hinderer how many people do that with their $600 knives. So same kind of concept applies here. The pros for me are really good ergonomics and absolutely phenomenal detent. Look at that. A beautifully designed flipper tab. You can get it with the push button, and then you can also grab that jimping up here and grip and rip for a light switch, and it works phenomenally. The action is good. It has a fuller, so you can get your finger down here and fire her out like that. I love the 6-gun pivot, and I think the design overall is interesting. It's not my style, so I'm not going to sit here and say it's the greatest looking knife. It's just not my style. But I do think to some people it's going to have a really nice appeal. I actually like the short backspacer that helps with weight. They didn't relieve it at all, but I guess the carbon fiber helps with that a little bit. It is, you know, a hefty knife, but if you are into this kind of stuff, you're going to be fine with the weight. The negatives for me are, personally, it's obviously a little bit too much of a chunker. It's really not the knife that's chunky, it's the blade stock. I mean, it's an absolute pry bar. That's a positive to some and, well, a negative to others. It's obviously very right-hand biased. I can't really do any reverse flicking left-handed unless I get down on this clip and really kind of lean on it, and it's just not, you know, confidence inspiring. And I really don't like one-sided inlays. So I really wish the inlay was somehow, you know, translated over to this side, maybe a little cut here or something, or gone with a bolster lock, which I think would have worked really well for this knife. So that's kind of my feeling on that. This is the Beans Blade Mini Warrior, and it's available at Blade Runner HQ. They loan this into the channel, so big shout out to RJ over there. Check out Beans Blades and check out Blade Runner HQ. Really cool people over there that I recently got in touch with. So that is the Mini Warrior. The next one is from Asher Knife Co. This is the Spiro Warney. So you have a Spiro Warney with twill carbon fiber. People are in love with this twill carbon fiber. I will admit it is not my favorite material. I like it. I think it's really cool, but I'm definitely more of a standard weave guy personally. I definitely like having this knife in it. I just don't think I'd go collecting it or trying to put it on a bunch of Divos or anything. Personally, I prefer the weave. But yeah, it's really nice. It's got that silver and white and gray look to it. You have a really faded AK on the pivot. I'm not sure if he did that on purpose, but I do like that it's not like this black laser on there, because that would take away where there's no other black on the knife. So I guess he did do it on purpose. You have a nice stone wash. I'm glad he did that and he didn't go with a satin, because it would have probably been just a machine satin, and those don't look good. I think belt satin or bust, and stone wash is definitely the way to go in terms of that. Very cool knife. The ergonomics are phenomenal. It's super comfortable in the hand. You have a nice sharpening choil there. The detent on this thing is banging. This is actually OEM'd by Petrified Fish, so I originally thought it might be Kunwu when I unboxed it, but I talked to Justin over at Asher Knife Co., and he confirmed it is Petrified Fish. I believe these were $130, maybe $150, but I think it was $130, and you're talking about twill carbon fiber and S90V steel for $130. Now, I have no idea what Petrified Fish, treats their S90V to, but the good thing about S90V is, much like 14C28N, it's very good at that 60 to 61 range. So let's say it's 59 to 61 like you usually see, then that's probably really well done. It's very sharp. You'll have a really nice grind. Comes down to a pretty thin edge, thin stock to begin with. Ashers are always nice and thin and very slicey. Great user knives, especially for the price. Okay, the pros on this. I would say the twill carbon fiber is definitely a pro for most people, and I think it is a pro for me. It's just not like I need it on everything now, you know what I mean? Another pro is this beautiful inset liner lock. So you have a nested liner lock. So you have a nested liners, and then you have the sort of hidden away lock tab. I really like that. I like how thin the overall design is with it. And yeah, another pro is this detent. It is absolutely money. It just fires. You can fire it from the bottom of the hole, and you have no issue. It doesn't feel like it's really weaker or anything. I mean, technically you feel it weaker than the top of the hole, but it's not weak. It's still a perfect detent down there. And up here, man, is it ridiculous. It's got great acoustics, easy to use left-handed. Of course, Justin is left-handed, so he's always making sure to take care of us lefties. It has a reversible wire clip. I would say the blade shape, the steel, the price, all of those are also pros for me. The Spiro is obviously a tried and true design he's had for years, and he has pumped out a shit ton of Spiros. Now, the cons for me, I really only have maybe one or two. T6s on the clip screw. I have no idea why those are T6s. Clearly, they could have made those T8s. He probably asked for T8s, and they did it anyway with T6s, is my guess, because obviously he wanted T8 here. He had T8 here. You know, it's not like, I know Justin, he wouldn't have asked for T6 on the clip screw. So they probably either said, we have to do T6 because they're weird and some companies do that. Maybe they have a million of these screws laying around and they just want to use them up. Or they screwed up and did it anyway. Plus side is, you know, you rarely have to mess with that. You just get it to where you want it and you're done. The only other con I would have is possibly this clip being bead blasted. If you can see, it looks to me to be bead blast steel. And I've had these on prototypes and such, and they do tend to rust because you're bead blasting steel, and that makes it more vulnerable to rusting. Now, that may or may not actually be an issue, but it looks like a bead blasted clip to me. But other than those very small things, this is an absolute banger, and anybody who can get their hands on one of these absolutely should. That's the Asher Spiro Warnie. The next one is from Vero Engineering. So Joseph over there was kind enough to send me one of these to check out. I do have an affiliate link to Vero Engineering that's down in the description of every video, and it's obviously going to be at the top of the description in this video. If you use that, it does help the channel, also helps out Vero, so it's a win-win. This thing is stupid sharp. Now, this is their Neuron, and this is the non-locking double detent knife from Vero Engineering. And I will say that last time around, he sent me one of these to check out and pass around, and I wasn't that enamored with it. You know, I thought it was cool, and it has its place, right? Because there's people who can't have locking knives or don't want them or like this kind of stuff for fidget factor. And I was kind of like, yeah, it makes sense, but I didn't love it. This time around, I really like this. I wouldn't go as far as to say I love it, but it's pretty close. It has a drawback for me that does, you know, kind of keep it out of my pocket after carrying it for a few days, and that may or may not be the case for you, and we'll talk about that. But what you have is titanium build, and you have a double detent system. So there's, I believe there's a detent on each side of the blade, and one will hold it open, and one will hold it closed. Or maybe there's just a ball on each side in there. I didn't take this apart, and it just pops in there, and then, you know, either way, there's two detents in there. And that's what closes it, keeps it from shaking out, and gives you a detent. And that's what keeps it locked open. Not locked, that's what keeps it open and not just falling closed. But it's not meant to be a lock, per se. You're supposed to be able to just break it. So a lot of people compare these to slip joints, and I would definitely not do that. I am carrying a slip joint today. So I have my Jack Wolf Little Bro Jack. And with a slip joint, you don't have detents, where this is in the detent close, and then you can flick it like a modern knife. But then it's just a detent hole and a ball, right? The ball is pressing into the hole right now, and I just have to break that tension, and then it's done. Then it's loose, right? And I can shake it closed. So it's very much like your modern folding knife, right? It has the closed detent, and then you can flick it or whatever open. But on a normal knife, you have a lock bar of some type, a plunge or whatever, so that it cannot close. I can't just do this and close it if it's working properly, obviously. But this can just be closed, right? A slip joint, on the other hand, is using a spring as tension. So you'll see here that spring will pop up as I close it. See how that pops up? And that's what's giving the tension on there. So you also have a half stop where it stops in the middle and then closes. So if you accidentally close this, it only goes halfway, and then you got to continue to close it. Same thing when you're opening it. Now, the big difference for me is I think a slip joint is 10 times safer than a double detent. Because on a slip joint, if I'm cutting, if I put a little pressure back here, I can start to feel this move forward and kind of back off. I can go, Now, for the most part, on a slip joint, you're not even going to do that. You're just going to hold it like this. You are not going to put your thumb up here. That's kind of dumb. In certain cases, if you're doing something, it makes sense. But let's say you're cutting. You want to keep your fingers back here so that you're only pushing the blade this way. But let's say the blade gets stuck on something, right? As you pull it back, you'll feel that tension. You'll feel that spring start to move. And then you can go, oh, okay, like, let me chill, right? So there's more safety in terms of that. You have to overcome all of that. And slip joints have different tensions. So some are super light, in which case they feel kind of like this. Like this is not a super strong spring on here. It's not bad. This isn't the best example, but there's some where, you know, it almost feels the same as a double detent where it'll just close really easy. So it is kind of subjective, but the ones that I collect, the ones I like, have stronger springs. And so I feel more confident. If I push it a little forward, it'll just bounce back to me. On this, if you break that, you're done, right? There's no bouncing back. It's popping down. And if you're doing anything like cutting or whatever, it's going to come down, right? Pretty quickly. And that was the downside that I found with this knife when carrying it, because I was really enjoying it, flicking it, playing with it, right? But as soon as I went to cut anything, I would end up breaking that detent somehow, just cutting tape or something, like coming out of the cut. If I had my finger back here as I was pushing, it would just start closing. And I just don't trust myself enough. So I think that's another factor here is you have to know what you're carrying and trust yourself with it. So I think if this is a knife that you're carrying regularly and you have a handle on it, you're going to be perfectly fine. You're going to know. I always keep my fingers back here. I never put any pressure up here, right? And you'll probably be fine with it. I just literally, every time I tried to cut something, I would close it. And it was just scary to me. So that was my drawback to it. Now, the positives on this is it's a nice small size knife, super lightweight. It's got a really nice titanium clip, and the action is super fun. I mean, if you're just looking for an awesome thing to fidget with that can cut stuff, this is phenomenal. You have a few versions of this. So there's a right-handed one, obviously. So there's mostly right-handed ones, and then there's left-handed clip versions. And that's what's really cool is Vero is always looking out for us lefties. I think one of their sons is left-handed, so they've always taken that into consideration, and they do runs of knives in lefty. And this is the latest one where they did a lefty clip option on the Neuron. So if you're left-handed, this is another knife that you can carry in your front pocket and enjoy, which I think is really cool. Then they have this version. Well, this is the lefty. You can get this in lefty or righty, apologies. And it has the flipper tab on it. So you can grab the jimping up here and do it like a traditional flipper. You can get it with the front flip, which I do struggle with. I tend to always kind of bounce off. I don't know why I do that. It doesn't stay locked up. I think it's a me thing. There, if I do it a little slower, it'll stay. But if I do like a normal front flip, it kind of bounces off. You can obviously reverse flick it, which is super satisfying. I really love the reverse flick on this. It's my favorite deployment method, and it is super reliable. You can thumb flick it out. You can obviously slow roll it out. So you have a bunch of options with deployments. Then they have like a UK legal version that doesn't have the flipper on it. So it literally is a double detent with just the slots. And apparently that makes it a two-hand knife. So you can just open it like this. Or maybe it just has something to do with the flipper tab. They're not allowed to have flipper tabs or something. But anyway, they have like a UK legal one, which is cool as well. I think that one only comes in right-handed, but I'm not positive. So there's a lot of cool options. The belt satin on here is gorgeous. They do have a ton of different configurations. Let me see if the box has, yeah. So you have Neuron left hand, Neuron non-flipper, and then just Neuron. And then you have black wash blades, you have belt satin, hand satin, stone wash, and then other is probably for their special limited stuff. But so you have a lot of different options. Nice packaging. Belt satin, stone wash, Neuron left. So I guess the handle is stone wash. But yeah, it's really cool. Smaller size knife. Like here is a premium pony. Let's see. It is, yeah, it's about the same size as a premium pony. One thing I'd love to see is them do something like this with a finger choil. Because if you add a finger choil, you're adding safety, because then you would be able to close it, but the choil would be protecting you. Where with this, if you're up here, even on this flat, if you close it, you're getting edge on your finger there. So just if you know what you're doing and you're aware of what you have, then I think you could really enjoy this, and it is extremely well made. I can tell you the build quality is excellent. 90% sure it's in M390 as well, so very premium materials, OEM by Best Tech. So that is the Neuron. And then the last one here for this video is going to be the Penguin button lock exclusives for traditional pocket knives. So they now have the Piss Penguin. That's what they're calling it, the Piss Penguin. And then they already released the Jig Titanium button lock Penguin. And they made some upgrades to these when they ordered these as exclusives. So check out Traditional Pocket Knives. I have a link down below. I also have a discount code for you. Code LeftyTPK will save you $5 off on these knives. This one's $150 and this one's $160. So you can, or 65, I can't remember. So this one would be like 160 with the code, and this one would be 145 with the code. And these are button locks, but not only did they have a button lock, Austin over at Traditional Pocket Knives asked them to update a few things. So we have a hollow grind that we haven't seen on the Penguin before, at least not on the button lock that I know of. We have a belt satin. We have an upgraded sharpening choil, as I understand it. And we have a more stout spring. So you're able to get what feels more like a traditional detent on these knives. If you want to check it out, I have a full video on this and a disassembly video where I put skiffs in it, and you can see the whole process. Very easy, and it's skiffed up nice, and the action just got way freaking amazing once I put skiffs in there. Was it already good? Yeah, this one is stock, and it has the same nice spring. Thumb studs are sick, and it swings down when you press on that button. Dead nut centered, and again, this one has that really cool Piss Ultim. Not my favorite material, but I know a lot of you guys are into it. So the thing I really like about this is the kind of contrasts it gives you. Like when you're looking at that pivot, it kind of looks like it's raised out of the scale. It really makes me think that that pivot is sitting proud of the scale. But it's not. It's perfectly flush. It's just that Ultim see-through that kind of gives you this weird kind of illusion. It's just really kind of cool to see. And if you're gonna do Ultim, I think this is definitely the way you should do it, is like polish it and make it clear like this, and it looks really, really good on this model. I think Austin did a great job. These are limited to 200 pieces total. Oh, we also did S9EV. So you get a lot for your money with these for 145 and 160 bucks, right? This one's titanium with jigged pattern on it. No liners in there that I know of. So you just have the plunge mechanism and then titanium slabs, so it's nice and lightweight. This one you do have steel liners, obviously, to house everything and keep the Ultim structurally sound. But yeah, so those are the Penguins, and I really like those as well. Again, for me, the pros are the aesthetics, the materials, the upgrades, the hollow grind, the actual detent feeling on a button lock. I'm usually very disappointed with button locks, and these feel absolutely great. The cons, I guess, would just be it's a button lock. Even though it's kind of a plus, it's also a minus for me. I personally don't love button locks. And that's, I mean, that's really it. It's a Penguin. It's one of the most iconic EDC knives, I think, especially in the affordable range that we've seen over the years. So there you go, guys. That is some knives. There's just some rapid reviews. You got the QSP Penguin exclusives from Traditional Pocket Knives, the Beans Blades Mini Warrior from Blade Runner HQ, the Asher Spiro Warney, shout out to Asher, and the Vero Engineering Neuron, shout out to Vero. Links down below. Let me know if you guys have any questions about these. Let me know which one you would choose, and I love you guys. Thank you for checking these out. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day, and I will catch you later.